First story, Frostbitten Shadows, by Sarah Thompson. The winter holidays had always been a time of joy and warmth for me, surrounded by family and friends. However, that year, I decided to embark on a solo winter hike in the remote mountains of Colorado. I rented a cozy cabin nestled deep within the frost-covered forest, seeking solitude and a break from the hustle of daily life. The journey began with the crunch of snow beneath my boots, the crisp air biting at my cheeks as I ventured deeper into the wilderness. The towering pines stood sentinel-like, their branches laden with snow. The serene beauty of the landscape was both awe-inspiring and isolating. As I settled into the cabin, a sense of tranquility enveloped me. The crackling fireplace cast dancing shadows on the walls, and I relished the simplicity of being alone in nature. However, as night fell, a subtle unease crept over me. On the second night, a persistent tapping echoed through the cabin. I dismissed it as the wind playing tricks, but the rhythmic sound persisted. Investigating, I discovered a message scrawled on the frost-covered window. "You're not alone." Panic gripped me as I scanned the desolate surroundings, finding nothing but the haunting emptiness of the winter night. Each passing day brought a new layer of paranoia. Strange footprints circled the cabin, leading to the edge of the forest and disappearing without a trace. Whispers carried by the wind seemed to form words that sent shivers down my spine. The isolation that had initially been a refuge transformed into a prison of fear. One evening, as I sat by the fire, a shadowy figure appeared at the edge of the forest. Wrapped in tattered clothing, their face obscured, they stood motionless, staring at me. The air grew thick with tension as our eyes locked. Without uttering a word, the figure retreated into the darkness. Terrified, I decided to cut my stay short and return to civilization. As I packed my belongings, the tapping returned, more insistent this time. It seemed to come from within the cabin's walls, a sinister presence that refused to be ignored. Hastily, I left the cabin behind, haunted by the mystery of those frostbitten shadows. Second story, Whispers in the Blizzard, by Alex Mitchell. The winter holidays called for a retreat, and I found solace in a quaint cabin nestled in the heart of the Swiss Alps. Surrounded by pristine snow and towering peaks, it was the perfect escape. Little did I know, the tranquility would soon be shattered by an unsettling series of events. The first sign of disturbance came during a midnight blizzard. The wind howled, and the snowfall intensified, creating an otherworldly hush that drowned out all sound. Amidst the whiteout, whispers echoed through the cabin, whispers that seemed to emanate from the storm itself. The spectral voices carried fragmented messages, unintelligible yet unnerving. Convinced it was a trick of the mind, I tried to dismiss the haunting whispers as a byproduct of isolation. However, as the storm raged on, the voices grew louder, more insistent, as if pleading for attention. Days turned into nights, and the relentless blizzard showed no signs of relenting. The cabin's walls seemed to shudder under the force of the wind, and shadows danced in the flickering candlelight. Sleep became a distant luxury as the whispers infiltrated my dreams, weaving a tapestry of chilling images. One evening, as I stared into the abyss of the storm, a figure emerged from the white abyss. Cloaked in layers of snow and ice, it approached with an ethereal grace. The whispers crescendoed, forming a ghastly choir that reverberated through the cabin. The figure extended a frozen hand, imploring me to follow. Driven by a surreal compulsion, I ventured into the blizzard. the world outside transformed into a monochrome dreamscape, and the whispers guided me deeper into the snow-laden forest. Shadows danced on the periphery, and the air buzzed with an otherworldly energy. Suddenly, the whispers ceased, and I stood alone in the heart of the blizzard. The figure had vanished, leaving me disoriented and chilled to the bone. Panic set in as I realized the gravity of my situation. Lost in the frozen wilderness, pursued by spectral whispers, I struggled to find my way back to the cabin. Days blurred into nights as I wandered through the unforgiving landscape. The cabin remained elusive, and the relentless whispers echoed my growing desperation. Just when hope seemed all but lost, a break in the storm revealed the familiar silhouette of the cabin on the horizon. Exhausted and haunted by the enigmatic whispers, I stumbled back to the safety of the cabin. The blizzard continued its relentless assault, but within those walls, I found refuge from the spectral forces that had sought to engulf me in the heart of the winter storm. Third story: Footprints in the Snow, by Marcos Santoro. For this year's winter holidays, I opted for a change of scenery and rented a charming cottage in the remote village of Rovaniemi, located in the Finnish Lapland. Surrounded by snow-covered landscapes and the promise of a magical winter, my holiday took an unexpected turn into the realms of the eerie. The cottage, nestled at the edge of a dense forest, exuded a quaint charm that initially captivated my senses. The nearest neighbors were miles away, adding an extra layer of seclusion to my holiday retreat. As the days passed, however, I began to notice peculiar occurrences that cast a shadow over the winter wonderland. It started innocently enough, the sensation of being watched. Whether I was sipping hot cocoa by the fireplace or gazing out of the frost-covered window, the feeling persisted. My attempts to rationalize it as the product of an overactive imagination failed when I stumbled upon a set of fresh footprints leading from the forest to the cottage. The footprints were unsettlingly large, resembling those of a barefoot human, yet distorted in a way that defied explanation. Determined to dispel my growing unease, I ventured into the forest, tracing the mysterious prints. As I delved deeper, the air grew colder, and an oppressive stillness settled over the snowy landscape. The footprints led to an ancient tree with gnarled branches that reached towards the sky like skeletal fingers. At its base, a crude effigy made of twigs and snow stood, its features distorted and faceless. A chill ran down my spine as I realized the unsettling connection between the footprints and the eerie effigy. Nightfall brought with it an ominous symphony of creaking branches and distant howls. Alone in the cottage, I became hyper-aware of every sound, my senses heightened by a primal instinct warning me of impending danger. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on sinister shapes that seemed to move with a malevolent intent. As I lay in bed, the cottage was enveloped in an unnerving silence. Then, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed outside my window. Fear clenched at my chest as I tiptoed towards the frosty glass, peering into the darkness. A figure, obscured by the night, stood among the trees, staring directly at me. Panicked, I locked every door and window, but the atmosphere inside the cottage grew heavy with an unseen presence. The figure remained a silent sentinel, a specter in the winter night. The following morning, the footprints vanished, leaving no trace of the unsettling visitor. Haunted by the inexplicable events, I cut short my holiday retreat, leaving the village of Rovaniemi behind. The memories of the footprints in the snow and the faceless effigy lingered, a chilling reminder that even in the most enchanting winter landscapes, shadows could cast their dark embrace. Fourth story, The Frozen Echoes, by Emily Reynolds. Seeking a change of scenery during the winter holidays, I booked a cabin in the remote outskirts of Banff, Alberta, Canada. Nestled between the Rocky Mountains and surrounded by dense evergreen forests, it promised a picturesque escape from the ordinary. Little did I know the haunting tale that awaited me in the frigid wilderness. The journey to the cabin was an adventure in itself, winding through snow-covered mountain passes. The air was crisp, and the landscape glistened like a pristine winter fairy tale. The cabin, a quaint log structure, exuded warmth against the icy backdrop of the Canadian Rockies. As I settled in, the only sounds were the crackling fire and the distant howls of the wind. On the third night, however, an unnerving disturbance shattered the tranquility. Echoes reverberated through the dense forest, distorted and eerie. It was as if the very air had frozen into spectral whispers that clawed at the edges of my consciousness. I dismissed it as the natural acoustics of the mountains until the echoes took on a haunting familiarity. Each night, the frozen echoes grew louder, morphing into discernible voices. They carried fragmented messages, snippets of conversations from my past. Fear gnawed at me as I recognized the voices of loved ones long gone, their words distorted into a mournful chorus that sent shivers down my spine. Haunted by the spectral echoes, I ventured into the forest to seek their source. The cold air clung to my every step as I navigated through the snow-laden pines. The echoes guided me deeper into the heart of the wilderness, where the shadows danced with an unsettling sentience. The forest seemed to come alive with whispers, the trees whispering secrets carried by the frigid wind. A figure emerged from the shadows, draped in tattered garments and obscured by the swirling snowflakes. The echoes intensified as the figure approached, revealing a visage that mirrored my own. Panic set in as the frozen echoes formed a chilling revelation. The figure was a manifestation of my deepest fears and regrets. It whispered of choices left unmade, relationships left unresolved, a frozen echo of the past haunting my present. The forest became a twisted labyrinth, each step leading me further into the depths of my own psyche. As I grappled with the surreal manifestation, the echoes shifted from accusatory whispers to a mournful plea for release. The figure mirrored my movements, its gestures mirroring the weight of my unresolved burdens. In a moment of clarity, I confronted the frozen echoes, acknowledging the pain that lingered within. With each confession, the forest released its grip on the haunting echoes. The figure dissipated into the swirling snow, and the forest fell silent. The frozen echoes had found their release, leaving me standing alone in the winter night, burdened no more by the specters of my past. Fifth story, Crimson Silence, by Jasper Turner. A winter retreat to the Bavarian Alps promised a peaceful escape, with the idyllic town of Garmisch-Partenkirchen serving as the backdrop for my holiday solitude. The cozy cottage, adorned with gingerbread-like architecture, nestled against the snow-laden slopes. Little did I know that the quaint facade masked a chilling secret that would unravel over the course of my stay. The first inkling of unease manifested during a twilight hike through the dense forest surrounding the cottage. The snow-laden branches cast elongated shadows, and the air hung heavy with a hushed expectancy. It was as if the very essence of the forest held its breath, waiting for something unseen. As I ventured deeper, a crimson glow emanated from a clearing ahead. Drawn by the eerie radiance, I stumbled upon a scene that defied explanation. A circle of candles flickered in the snow, casting an ethereal glow upon a collection of worn photographs arranged in a peculiar pattern. Faces from the past stared back at me, frozen in time. Each night, the crimson ritual repeated itself, as if the forest held its breath in anticipation. The photographs, weathered by time, portrayed faces both unfamiliar and hauntingly familiar. Whispers carried by the wind seemed to echo the names of those captured in the images, forming a spectral chorus that heightened the sense of unease. Driven by an unsettling curiosity, I delved into the history of the cottage and the enigmatic ritual. Local legends spoke of a tragedy that befell a family long ago, their lives intertwined with the very fabric of the forest. The crimson glow was said to be a remnant of a long-forgotten pact, a spectral ceremony that transcended the boundaries of life and death. As I unearthed the secrets of the past, the cottage itself seemed to respond. Doors creaked open of their own accord, and unseen footsteps echoed through the halls. The crimson glow seeped into every corner, casting long shadows that danced with a spectral energy. Sleep became elusive as the haunting ritual permeated my dreams. One fateful night, as I stood in the clearing, the forest released a spectral apparition. The figures from the photographs materialized before me, their eyes filled with a silent plea for release. The crimson glow intensified, enveloping the clearing in an otherworldly radiance. In a moment of ethereal silence, the figures dissipated into the winter night, their presence released from the spectral ritual that bound them. The forest fell into a deep stillness, and the crimson glow faded, leaving behind an air of melancholic calm. Haunted by the echoes of the crimson ritual, I left the Bavarian Alps behind, carrying with me the weight of a spectral encounter that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. The quaint cottage stood as a silent witness to the crimson silence that lingered within the heart of the winter woods. Sixth story: Frozen Whispers of Lake Placid, by Mia Reynolds. In search of a winter escape, I found myself in the charming town of Lake Placid, nestled in the Adirondack Mountains of New York. A cabin, perched on the edge of a frozen lake, offered a breathtaking view of the snow-covered landscape. Little did I know that beneath the tranquil surface of the icy waters, a chilling secret awaited. The first inkling of something amiss occurred during a moonlit stroll along the frozen lake. The ice beneath my boots emitted a haunting groan, as if the lake itself held a frozen secret. I dismissed it as the natural sounds of winter until a series of inexplicable phenomena unfolded over the following nights. Strange patterns emerged on the frozen surface of the lake, intricate designs etched into the ice. At first, they appeared to be random, but as I studied them, a haunting realization set in. They resembled a map, a cryptic trail leading to the center of the frozen expanse. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as I followed the trail into the heart of the icy abyss. The frozen whispers became more pronounced as I neared the center of the lake. Muffled voices seemed to emanate from beneath the ice, the spectral echoes of a forgotten time. The temperature plummeted, and an otherworldly fog clung to the air, distorting the landscape into a surreal dreamscape. As I stood at the epicenter of the frozen lake, a spectral figure materialized before me. Draped in tattered garments, their features obscured, the figure extended a frozen hand. The ice crackled beneath their touch, and the frozen whispers intensified, forming a spectral symphony that echoed through the wintry night. The figure led me deeper into the frozen abyss, where the ice gave way to a surreal underwater world. Frozen flora swayed in the unseen currents, and ethereal lights danced along the icy walls. The whispers revealed a tragic tale of love and loss, a narrative frozen in time beneath the surface of the lake. The further we delved into the icy depths, the more the spectral figure's story unfolded. A love affair cut short by tragedy, a pact made in desperation to reunite in the afterlife. The frozen lake became a haunting tapestry of memories, each layer of ice preserving the echoes of a bygone era. As the spectral figure reached the climax of their tale, the frozen lake seemed to come alive with a burst of ethereal energy. The eyes shimmered with an otherworldly radiance, and the whispers reached a crescendo before dissipating into the winter air. The spectral figure dissolved, leaving behind a profound stillness. Haunted by the frozen whispers of Lake Placid, I emerged from the icy depths and returned to the cabin on the lake's edge. The patterns etched into the frozen surface had vanished, leaving no trace of the spectral journey. The quaint town of Lake Placid held its secrets, and beneath the surface of the frozen lake, a love story lingered, forever preserved in the silent embrace of winter. 7th story: The Solitary Dance of Patagonian Shadows, by Luis Rodriguez. Yearning for a unique winter adventure, I found myself in the vast landscapes of Patagonia, Argentina. A solitary cabin stood against the backdrop of the Andes, surrounded by desolate beauty. Little did I know that the emptiness of the winter wilderness would be filled with a surreal dance of shadows that defied explanation. The desolation of the Patagonian winter was both awe-inspiring and isolating. The vast expanses of snow-covered plains stretched as far as the eye could see, and the piercing wind carried an eerie symphony through the valleys. As I settled into the cabin, the solitude became both a refuge and a source of growing unease. The first night brought a spectacle that defied explanation, the dance of shadows. As I sat by the fire, elongated figures flickered on the cabin walls, moving with an unsettling grace. The shadows seemed to possess a life of their own, swaying and contorting in a rhythmic dance that mirrored the solitude of the Patagonian landscape. The dance of shadows became a nightly occurrence, an otherworldly performance that played out against the stark white canvas of winter. Intricate patterns emerged, forming silhouettes that seemed to tell a silent story. I became entranced by the surreal display, captivated by the haunting beauty of the enigmatic shadows. One evening, as I ventured outside to witness the dance up close, the shadows took on a tangible form. Figures materialized, draped in the ghostly attire of forgotten eras. Their movements were a silent ballet, a dance that transcended the boundaries of time. Mesmerized, I joined the spectral dance, twirling in the winter night with the shadows of Patagonia. As the dance reached its climax, the figures whispered a cryptic tale of a bygone civilization, a people lost to the unforgiving landscape. The wind carried their voices, forming a spectral chorus that echoed through the valleys. The shadows embraced me, and for a fleeting moment, I became part of the haunting narrative woven by the winter winds. The following nights brought a sense of communion with the shadows, a surreal bond forged in the solitude of Patagonia. The dance became a ritual, a silent expression of the unspoken stories that lingered in the vast expanse. The figures dissolved into the night, leaving behind a profound stillness that mirrored the desolation of the winter wilderness. As I left the cabin in the heart of Patagonia, the dance of shadows remained etched in my memory, a surreal encounter with the enigmatic spirits that wandered the snow-covered plains. The vastness of the landscape held its secrets, and beneath the starlit sky, the dance continued, a solitary ballet performed by the shadows of a bygone era. 8th story: The Silent Echoes of Lapland, by Sophia Eriksson. In the remote reaches of Finnish Lapland, surrounded by snow-covered pine forests, I sought a winter escape that would transport me to a realm of tranquility. A cabin nestled in the quiet village of Levi promised the perfect retreat, but as the days unfolded, I found myself entangled in a tale of silent echoes that defied the serenity of Lapland. The initial days in Levi were idyllic, with the soft crunch of snow beneath my boots and the northern lights casting a celestial ballet across the starlit sky. The cabin exuded warmth, shielding me from the biting cold outside. However, as night fell, a subtle disquiet settled over the village. The echoes manifested in the form of a haunting melody, a soft, melancholic tune that seemed to drift through the crisp winter air. At first, I dismissed it as the wind playing tricks with the trees, but the melody persisted, seeping into the very fabric of the Lapland night. Intrigued, I followed the echoes to their source. The village square held a forgotten carousel, its paint faded and its wooden horses frozen in time. The haunting melody emanated from its weathered music box, an ethereal symphony that seemed to resonate with the silent echoes of Lapland's untold tales. As I listened, the melody wove a narrative of love lost and ancient secrets buried beneath the layers of snow. In the following nights, the echoes led me to the outskirts of Levi, where a secluded graveyard lay beneath a blanket of untouched snow. The gravestones, weathered by time, bore the names of villagers from centuries past. The echoes intensified, transforming into whispers that carried the tales of those who rested beneath the frozen ground. Among the graves, a spectral figure materialized, draped in traditional Sami garments. Their face remained obscured, but their eyes held a silent plea. The figure beckoned me to a forgotten shrine at the edge of the graveyard, where ancient symbols adorned the snow-covered stones. The echoes formed a cryptic narrative, a testament to the enduring legacy of Lapland's indigenous people. As the figure vanished into the night, the echoes revealed a ritual that transcended time, a ceremony performed by the Sami to honor the spirits of the land. The shrine, forgotten by all but the silent echoes, became a conduit between the living and the spiritual realm, a connection to Lapland's enigmatic past. Haunted by the silent echoes, I became a custodian of Lapland's untold stories. The village of Levi held secrets buried beneath the snow, and the echoes persisted, a testament to the enduring spirit of a land that echoed with the voices of the past. Ninth story. Frostbitten Whispers of the Cairngorms, by Duncan McGregor. Venturing into the heart of the Scottish Highlands during the winter holidays, I sought refuge in a remote cabin near the Cairngorms. The towering peaks, clad in snow, and the dense forests promised a haven of solitude. Yet, as the days unfolded, I found myself ensnared in a tale of frostbitten whispers that echoed through the frozen landscapes. The cabin, nestled against the backdrop of the Cairngorms, seemed to absorb the silence of the winter wilderness. The air was crisp, and the snow-laden branches of ancient pines cast long shadows on the ground. As night fell, a subtle unease settled over the remote landscape. The frostbitten whispers began as a distant murmur, a haunting symphony carried by the icy wind. At first, I dismissed it as the natural sounds of the Highland winter, but as the whispers persisted, they took on a spectral quality. Each night, the voices grew louder, forming a ghostly chorus that seemed to reverberate through the very fabric of the ancient mountains. Driven by a compulsion I couldn't explain, I ventured into the heart of the Cairngorms. The snow-covered landscape became a labyrinth of frozen pathways, and the whispers guided me deeper into the solitude. As I ascended a steep slope, a spectral figure materialized against the white expanse, a Highlander draped in tattered plaid, their eyes filled with a silent plea. The frostbitten whispers intensified as the figure led me to a forgotten ruin, a dilapidated castle cloaked in snow. The voices formed a narrative of betrayal and a love lost to the harsh realities of the Highland winter. The castle, frozen in time, became a spectral stage for a tragedy that echoed through the ages. Within the castle walls, shadows danced with an otherworldly energy, and the air buzzed with the presence of unseen spirits. The figure pointed to a weathered tapestry that depicted the tragic love story, the Highland lord and his forbidden love, a tale of passion and heartbreak etched into the very stones of the ruin. As the figure dissolved into the winter night, the frostbitten whispers subsided. The cairngorms, silent witnesses to centuries of Highland tales, held their secrets close. The ancient landscape bore the weight of untold stories, and as I left the remote cabin behind, I carried with me the echoes of the frostbitten whispers that lingered in the frozen heart of the Scottish Highlands. 10th story, Shadows of the Alps, by Elena Weber. Nestled in the shadow of the Swiss Alps, my winter holiday retreat promised not just picturesque landscapes but also an encounter with the enigmatic shadows that cast their presence upon the snow-covered valleys. The quaint village of Zermatt held a charm that was both inviting and mysterious, and little did I know that the shadows would unfold a tale that transcended the boundaries of time. The cabin, a cozy haven against the biting cold, overlooked the majestic Matterhorn. The alpine air was crisp, and the snow-laden streets glistened under the soft glow of streetlights. As night fell, the Alps cast elongated shadows that seemed to dance along the mountainous terrain. The first inkling of the shadow's peculiar nature occurred during a moonlit stroll through the village. The silhouettes that played against the snow seemed to possess a life of their own, moving in a rhythmic dance that mirrored the contours of the Alps. Intrigued, I followed the shadows as they led me to a forgotten path winding through the snow-covered pines. As I ventured deeper into the alpine forest, the shadows became more pronounced, taking on a tangible form. Figures materialized, draped in the attire of a bygone era, their faces obscured by the haunting dance of darkness. The alpine wind carried whispers that formed a spectral chorus, a narrative of untold tales woven into the very fabric of the mountains. The shadows led me to an ancient chalet hidden in the heart of the Alps. The timber structure, weathered by time, held the secrets of generations past. As I stepped into the dimly lit interior, the shadows seemed to merge with the flickering candlelight, creating an ethereal ambience that resonated with the silent echoes of history. Within the chalet, a spectral figure emerged, a guardian of the shadows, their presence a bridge between the past and the present. The figure guided me through hidden chambers adorned with ancient artifacts and faded portraits. Each room held a fragment of a larger narrative, a story that unfolded like a tapestry in the hands of the Alps themselves. The alpine shadows revealed a tale of a community bound by tradition, a dance of life and death that echoed through the generations. The figures in the shadows were not mere specters but guardians of a timeless legacy, entrusted with the task of preserving the stories etched into the very stones of the Alps. As the night unfolded, the shadows dissipated, leaving me standing in the heart of the chalet. The alpine air outside held the echoes of the tales told, and the Matterhorn loomed in the moonlit night, a silent witness to the dance of shadows that played out in the village of Zermatt. Leaving the cabin and the shadows behind, I carried with me the weight of the Alps' untold stories, a testament to the enigmatic presence that lingered in the snow-covered valleys. The quaint village of Zermatt held its secrets close, and as I descended from the shadowy embrace of the Swiss Alps, I knew that the dance of shadows would forever be etched in the winter tapestry of my memories. Thank you for sticking with us through the whole video. Also, I recommend you this video you see on screen, one of the scariest on my channel. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. This helps me bring you more thrilling content every day. If this video sent shivers down your spine, let me know in the comments.